Hey friend, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com, and today I want to talk about how to EQ your vocals. 3 specific EQ moves I make just about every single lead vocal I do. Keep in mind, I don't want to just give you numbers. Giving you EQ frequencies to boost or cut by themselves is somewhat pointless because every vocalist and every microphone and every preamp and every song are going to be different. But what I'm going to show you are the 3 moves I'm making and the why behind those moves. That will be more powerful to you, so then you can assess on your vocals, do those 3 things apply? Do you need those 3 things? And then will they help? Also keep in mind that this is a relatively subtle thing that I think is very noticeable, but it will only take a good vocal to the next level. It won't fix a bad vocal. Okay, mixing is not about drastic sweeping moves. I wrote about this last week. It's these tiny little subtle moves. That's the best way to use your plugins. And so this is going to be a great example for you of that. So here we are with a little Christmas action for you, a little Silent Night, and we'll zero in the lead vocal without any processing.
Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace.
Sounds fine. Sounds great. What I want to do is get a vocal that sounds even more upfront, really kind of coming at you with more clarity and a little more sizzle. You know, you want that lead vocal to just be sweet and nice and special. And so a good recording with a good microphone of a good performer singing well is good. And then in the mixing phase, we want to just take it that much further. So here's what I would do. Let's drag in one of my favorite plugins, the SSL channel from Waves. Just a little tidbit. I love EQs where I cannot see the graph, where I don't see the curve. Sometimes I fool myself when I look at the curve. So that's one reason why I use the SSL, because they're knobs. I'm familiar with SSL, and I just love being able to grab a knob and listen. It kind of forces you to listen. But any EQ will do. That's the beauty of what I'm going to show you. It doesn't matter if you're using the stock EQ or a graphical interface or something like this. The first EQ move is more powerful than it sounds, and it's a high-pass filter. Okay, this is a cutoff. It's a low-frequency cutoff, basically, and I like to roll this up to about 100. This does actually 2 things. Typically, we talk about high-pass filters as cutting out the lows, removing unnecessary rumble, things like that, and it's going to kill some of that stuff. The human voice doesn't really need a ton below 100 in context with the rest of the mix. So this frees up headroom. This kills low frequency rumble that would not be needed but is still there. But the other thing it does is the moment you ask your speaker to do less on the low end by rolling off some of the low end, it allows your speaker to have more energy to push the upper mids and the mid-range. So you actually get a little bit of a clarity boost, ironically, by cutting out the lows, because now the speaker is asked to do less work down there in the low. So anytime you can cut low frequency, keep in mind it will probably give you an apparent upper mid boost, anywhere else basically. It's very subtle, but this really helps. So we're rolling off the low end here so you can hear what it sounds like.
Silent night, holy night. Silent night, holy night.
Not much different. So this is good. Actually, we can free up a lot of headroom by rolling off some of the low end. So I will do that first. I'm always trying to take away what doesn't need to be there. The other area I take away is in the low mids, traditionally around 400 to 500 hertz. This is a range suggestion. It really will depend on the microphone, the singer, the voice, etc. This is where a lot of the muddiness is, and by finding the nastiness and cutting some of it out, it's going to do much like the high pass. It's going to not only give you less muddiness, but it's going to give you more clarity in the upper mids, because now the speaker can produce the upper mids with more energy because it's not devoted to the low mids. So I'm going to do a boost here at around 500, which is where the SSL starts, and sweep around and find what sounds the nastiest, and then I'll take it out.
Silent night, holy night, the Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace.
So 460 sounds pretty nasty. It sounds kind of honky around 500. Down to the 300 range, it sounded real beefy. I don't want to kill too much of the beef, so I might settle around 460, let's say, on this vocal. And then what I'm going to do is dial that out by -3 dB. Okay? I like to work in 3 dB chunks because they are noticeable enough but subtle enough that they will keep your track sounding musical and natural. So far we've done 2 cuts, and the final step is the only boost I make on vocals, and that's going to be in the upper range, and that's going to be with a shelf boost. So this is going to be the most natural way to get a boost. Instead of just boosting a little frequency or around one specific frequency, we're going to do a whole shelf, so it's that and everything above it. I love on the SSL 8K. Okay, it's really because the curve extends a little bit farther down, so on your EQ it might be closer to 6K, but anywhere in 6 on up, you're going to get a lot of that clarity in the vocal. So what I'm going to do is keep it, it's a shelf by default here. You could change it to a bell curve in the SSL, but this one's a shelf. And what I'm going to do is do a slight 1.5 dB boost here, okay?
Silent night, holy night, the Son of God.
And that's it. I've done a roll off up to 100 on the high pass. I've taken out 3 dB of 460 or so, and I've done a 1.5 dB boost at 8K with a shelf. Now let me go ahead and turn this on and play, and then I'm going to bypass the EQ, and you can hear some of the difference in solo, and then we'll do it in the mix.
Silent night, holy night, the Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth.
I was trying to cut it in and out throughout the vocal. You could hear the vocal opening up a little bit more, and that's what's needed in a mix, is the vocal to open up just a little bit more. So I'll start with the EQ on in the mix, and then when I bypass it, you'll hear the vocal just get a little darker, a little more muffly, a little less articulation.
Silent night, holy night, the Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth.
Subtle? Yeah, you betcha. Is this drastically life-changing? No. But this one little move makes the vocal cut out, stick out, and it's natural, and it's focusing on the 3 areas that I think matter on the vocal. The low cut or the high pass is removing the stuff that is really unnecessary and freeing up your speaker to produce the better frequencies of the vocal, which is everything above 100. That's step 1. Step 2 is cutting out the wonkiness or that low mud buildup in the 300, 400, 500 hertz range. You clean that up, the vocal sounds more clear, more articulate, and you still haven't boosted a thing. So you're getting the articulation and the clarity you want without having to add any gain, which means more headroom, which means your mix is going to sound better. That's always good. Subtractive EQ is always a better move. And then the final move is the only boost I do, and that is in the upper range to give you a little bit more air, a little bit more articulation, but I'm only doing 1.5 dB of a boost because that's all I need at this point, because I've freed up so much headroom in those upper ranges with the 2 cuts. So you're clearing out the low mud, you're clearing out the rumble low stuff, and then you're opening up the articulation. And now you have a vocal that is much sweeter. And I'll tell you this is now a vocal that I would compress and it would sound even better. I like to compress after I've done this kind of work on the vocal, after the EQ, because now I have a cleaner, more articulate, more defined vocal sound. So when I hit the compressor, I'm not sending unnecessary stuff to it. And then you'll get even more rich but clear sound up front with your vocal compressor. This will work on any EQ. Let me show you real quick what it looks like with a standard stock EQ, since that's something visually many of you are used to. Let's grab the Avid EQ7. Here's how I would do the same move. I would do a high pass up to 100. And I would start with something gentle like that. You know, if you do a harder curve, that's fine too. It's just going to give you more mid-range bite. And then I'm going to do the, where is this? We did a 460 and a little bit tighter Q. Anytime I do a cut, I like to do a tighter Q, do about a 3 dB cut. And then we did a shelf boost around 8K. But really, with this EQ, since I know the SSL extends down, let's do it around 6.8. We'll make this 1.5 dB boost. Let's hear what this does.
Silent night, holy night, the Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace.
Beautiful. More clarity, more articulation, the same concept, just a different EQ. There you go, how to EQ vocals in 3 steps. Lock in more into the concepts and the problem areas as opposed to the specific frequencies, and then do some experimenting on your track, on your EQ, and your situation, and see if this doesn't give your lead vocal that much more of a forward push frequency-wise. Add a touch of compression after this, and you're golden. Hope that helps. Again, Graham here from the recordingrevolution.com. Subscribe to the videos if you like them. Also, join the mailing list, and I'll send you a free video series called The Smart Start to Mixing, and also a bunch of other bonus goodies. My free ebook is there as well. And I send a bunch of exclusive bonus content to my email subscribers every single week that I don't send to anybody else. So join that. It's absolutely free, and you'll learn a lot and have a lot of fun. Have a great week. Make some great music. We'll see you on the next video.